Hello and welcome to Thrive Conversations, where we deep dive into conversations surrounding our mental health, resilience, and personal development. I am your host, and my name is Tega Omogo, and I have a delectable person as a guest today, and her name is Temitayo Ibikunle. She is a seasoned educator, a mental health advocate, and she's also an emotional intelligence coach. And I love her so much because her sense of humor, off the hook. So welcome, sis. Good to see you today. It's such an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be in the house.
She has this amazing series that she does, which is Talk to Tammy series. And she's is covering mental health issues. When I was trying to put this together, she was one of the people that popped up in my mind. And I'm like, no, she has to be here today. Because if you follow those series on social media, it will help you in ways that you cannot even really imagine. I have followed her and she's done amazing. Even as a mental health advocate myself, I find her series really uplifting. So it's such an honor, really an honor to have you here today.
Thank you for such kind words.
So the first time I ever heard about self-compassion was from you. We had a webinar that was done, and then I think it was one of those things that we do on one of those webinars we have on OSP. Yes, we belong to a pool, Octopus Speakers Pool, where a lot of people come together and we're harnessing, how to actually be very prolific speakers. You should actually join in. One of these days, we'll probably bring in the president and the founder of OSP here so that you can actually see what it is, because it's done amazing for quite a number of people. Yes, it will help you. And then I remember that day you were doing your own session. By the way, I am the vice president at the moment of the OSP.
That's true. Vice president.
Yes, boss. So we're having one of those sessions that day, and then she spoke about self-compassion. I will never forget that. And so when I say she popped up in that series, it was that drew me, that key, like how your filing cabinet opens quickly. And I just remember that, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to have Tammy on the show. Self-compassion, it blew my mind, because many of us don't even have self-compassion. And there's a question that she asked, and I keep asking when I'm taking stress management trainings. She asked, who are the 5 most important people to you? And I'm asking you right now, who are the 5 most important people to you? And most people wrote their father, their mother. I'd never heard it before. So me, I wrote, my parents are late. So I wrote my husband. I think my son was born already. So I said my son. I just put names there and everything. And then last, she bust our bubble and say, why is your name not on it? List. Which means that you are neglecting yourself. And many people have this conception that self-care is selfish. That is why I brought her here, because we need to talk about self-care in these times. Things are happening. Life is happening, and many of us are neglecting ourselves. We hear people that are dropping dead every day. In fact, yesterday, I heard of this guy in Abattoir that had passed on, and It really hurt me. And I keep thinking, people are dropping dead every day. Younger people in their 30s, people in their late 20s are just dropping dead. What's going on? So I need to talk about what self-care means. So please, over to you. Tell us about self-care in these times.
Self-care, simply, like you said, is prioritizing yourself, choosing you, loving you. I always talk about that, loving you, learning you.
Learning you.
Yes, learning you. So we know about our friends, we know about our spouses, but how many of us really do know about ourselves? And learning you, choosing you, loving you.
Wow.
Because where we miss it is, we forget that what you don't have, you cannot give.
Absolutely.
So oftentimes we're doing our best to give love when we don't even know how to love ourselves. So we find out that we keep struggling. So self-care is not selfish. Self-care is you, choosing you, loving you, learning you, being kind to yourself. Okay? So there is a concept of self-compassion that has to do with 3 things. The 3 components of self-compassion is mindfulness, because you can't self-care if you're not mindful of yourself.
Absolutely.
Mindfulness helps you to learn yourself, to know yourself. What are my sleep patterns? What are the things I love? Do you know that a lot of people don't know what makes them happy?
Absolutely. I figured that out in the course of therapy. When you ask them, especially people that are talking about maybe they have like anxiety or depression, and you're trying to find out really what makes you happy, because you know self-awareness is very key.
Is the bottom line.
I
of
figured that a
everything.
lot of people don't know what makes them happy.
A lot of people don't know what makes them happy.
Wow.
But they know what makes their partners happy. So, at the end of the day, what that does to us is when we have prioritized everybody and we have left ourselves behind, we come up at certain times in our lives and we are bitter because we feel we have given so much and haven't received so much.
This is what happens with people when they get divorced.
And this is also what happens to people why in our generation there are a lot of wicked mother-in-laws. Because many of them have lived for their husbands and their children, never had a life. So seeing a young girl trying to enjoy life, they are not even aware that they are bitter. But it just cannot connect. That's
Why are you so happy?
Why are you so happy?
What's going on? Yeah.
So it's very important. I was dressing up this morning and I was thinking about it. And I'm like, especially as married women, we need to get a life.
Hey, get a life, married woman. Get a life.
We need to get a life. Why? There's a way we have been conditioned to think that our lives are about our husbands and our children. And then we forget that we exist. And then somewhere down the line, and especially for women, because oftentimes men don't have this orientation. Men know how to choose themselves.
As a man will go and play football.
Yes.
He will go and watch football with his friends.
There's a target. The man goes for it without thinking about anything. Oftentimes we women, we talk ourselves out of it.
Whoa.
Where will I put my children?
So true.
Where will I put my children? What will my husband say?
So true.
So before even considering the opportunity,
we have
you
knocked
have given
it off.
yourself excuses to, and then some 5 years, 10 years down the line, the man has reached a peak, and you're bitter.
He grew without you. Wow. Then he now says, they look at him, he's chasing Jency. Wow.
So these conversations are deep.
Wow.
They are really deep conversations. Wow. We really do need to learn to live, have a life. And you can't have a life if you don't know yourself. Yeah. And if you don't choose yourself. And it's not being selfish, it's just finding balance. Because the truth is, it's important that we are created to be nurturers. So it's important that we are nurturing and we are kind. But as we are kind to others, can we remember to be kind to ourselves?
Good.
Can we remember to be kind to ourselves?
That's the self-compassion.
That's the self-compassion part. Remembering to be kind to ourselves. Do you know that when people go through issues and they meet us, we have the right words to say to them that brings them out of the issues?
Extending grace to other people.
But when we are going through issues, what do? We beat ourselves down.
Who did this to us?
We don't extend that same grace that we extend to people. So self-compassion teaches you to extend grace to yourself. Part of components of self-compassion is understanding that don't be your own bad person.
Absolutely.
Problem is common to life.
Yeah, common humanity. Yes. Everybody's going through life. Yes.
So, can you pause and just be like, it's normal.
It's not that deep.
I can come out of it. Rather than have done it again. I'm so foolish. I'm so. But if somebody brought the same question, same situation to you, you won't tell them they are foolish.
Absolutely.
You'll tell them that, yes, it's true, you've made a mistake, but don't worry. At least learn from your mistakes and move on. But we don't tell ourselves that. We beat ourselves down. So self-compassion deals with extending that same grace that you extend to others, that same kindness that you extend to others, to yourself. Another important aspect of self-compassion is your self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? You know, a wise man once said, one of the greatest conversations, the conversations that marks your soul the most
deepest
is your self-talk.
I always say this in trainings. I always tell people, I said, nothing marks your soul as much as your self-talk.
Your self-talk is everything.
I mean,
because we don't even take that pause to find ourselves, to know ourselves. We don't even know our self-talk.
There is a saying that my older sister used to say when we're younger. She'd be like, I'm not the most beautiful, but nobody find past me.
Yes, so
I adopted that thing very early.
Say it's only one you can choose. You can't be taller than me and be shorter than me.
I'm
at the
telling
same
you,
time.
you must choose one. I love it.
Why you can't
I love it.
So finding yourself, finding your space, loving yourself, is of utmost importance. And if you can do that right, you can extend your loving others will also come from a good place.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much. I love that. So we're going to now talk about mental health and self-care, yeah? So how does self-care impact mental health? And why is it a critical part of maintaining well-being?
Your self-care is the center of your mental health.
I love it.
Because it's about you. If you're running crazy, the best anybody can do to you is sorry, don't do.
So it's your
At the end of it, it's your responsibility. At the end of it, I was talking to a friend that was going through a difficult patch, and she was like, what this person did to me, if I do back to him, he would have created a monster. I said, excuse me, pause. Who becomes a monster?
So true.
You can say is what the person did to you that made you into that. But who became that?
That's why they say that life is 10%. And then your response to life is 90%.
Is 90%. So who becomes that? It's you. So your self-care is the center of everything. Because so I've mentioned that self-care has to do with knowing yourself. Do you know that people are stressed and they don't know that they are stressed?
Wow. I beg, explain that.
Let me give you an example. You have a lot, your workload is a lot.
Yeah.
And then your eyes are just on the target. You're having this nagging headache, but you're not paying attention that I'm having headache. Do you know that happens to people?
You're quite a lot.
You're not paying attention to the person you said slumped at the abattoir. People will say, once he gets here.
Yeah, he's
village people. But do you know what pain the person is probably feeling on the body that the person never paid attention to?
So true.
Until that thing comes to a point of breaking the person down.
Because it's always gradual. Because, your body has alarm system.
But we don't even pay attention to ourselves to even be able to say, at this point, I can't cope with this. So, in mental health, one of the definitions of mental health has to do with knowing what your boundaries are, what your limits are, and being productive.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you have to know what your boundaries are. But you can't do that if you don't pay attention to yourself. Being able to say no is part of paying attention to yourself. But a lot of us we live life on autopilot. We get up, we need to get this done. We're not paying attention, which is why mindfulness is also very important aspect of self-compassion and self-care.
Absolutely.
You just have to be mindful. You can't afford to live on autopilot. But unfortunately for us, the way the modern world has been designed, we are designed to live on autopilot. And then the little time we have, we scroll social media.
Let's enter social media matter, please.
We scroll social media and we don't pay attention to ourselves. And there's no way you can manage your stress without knowing yourself.
So true.
Let me say that again. There's no way you can manage yourself, your stress, without knowing yourself.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to know how many hours of sleep you require to function well. Do you know a lot of people don't know that? You don't know what your threshold is. So you go on autopilot, you just wake up one morning, you can't function again. If someone is asking you to trace back the journey of how you get there, you might not even be able to.
Hey!
Because you have just lived on autopilot.
Wow.
So you should be able to say, for me as a person, I require 7 hours of sleep.
And it varies per person.
Which is why self-awareness is everything. So you need to be able to say, for me as a person, for example, myself, if I want to function well tomorrow, in the next day, I need to sleep before 12. If I don't sleep before 12, I can't wake up by 5 a.m.
the whole day. Yeah.
Yes.
And you must be up by 5.
And I must be up by 5. Do you understand? So if I know I didn't sleep by 12, once I wake up with my body feeling somehow, I can extend the grace of today. I'm not getting up by 5. I will get an extra hour of sleep. But a lot of people don't know that. And then they break down. And even they are wondering why they are breaking down.
And your body has been signaling you. Alarm systems have gone off.
So self-knowledge is very important for you to manage your stress. So your self-knowledge is an important part of your self-care. What kind of food do you react to? Some people don't know.
I was going to actually talk about nutrition as
Yes.
well, because if you don't even eat properly, if you know you're diabetic, for instance, and we know that for diabetic patients, you shouldn't overeat and you shouldn't eat too late. Apart from the types of food that you should eat, even though they say now that you should eat a bit of everything. Don't just leave out classes
any
of food.
class of food, yeah. But you also need to understand what works for you.
And that is also a form of self-care.
Yes, basic forms of self-care. These things we say every day: eat well, hydrate, exercise. If you love yourself enough, those are basic aspects of self-care. Hydrate,
Wow.
drink water.
And oh my God, I met someone and I don't even know what happened. And I just offered her a bottle of water. And she looked at me and said, no, I don't drink water. I said, I don't understand. She said she doesn't drink water. That if she drinks a glass of water in a day, she's good. And for someone like me, I cannot function unless I've drank maybe like 6 bottles of water.
So you should know what works for you. But even though I don't think that is healthy. So what does she do?
She drinks juice, soda and all that, because she says water is boring. So water is boring.
Yes, I've heard that before.
Wow.
I know someone that flavors her water for her to be able to hydrate well, which is good. That one is
flavors.
good.
What
So
does she use to
she
flavor?
flavors her water. Sometimes she puts a little bit of Ribena inside just to give it some taste.
What about
Yeah.
lemon? And there are
yes,
healthy
lemon.
options
Yes,
like lemon.
there are-
Okay.
even pineapple. If you want a little bit of sweetness in
Okay.
it, you can cut pineapple into your water in the morning,
Infuse.
and then you
Fantastic.
keep refilling
Refilling
it,
it till the day is
till
over.
yes, lemon. Pineapples, those are even beetroot. I saw beetroot recently too as part of what you can mint leaf.
Oh, nice.
Yes, mint leaf and beetroot. So that can even make it look interesting, Your bottle is reddish with some greenish things dancing inside.
So now we understand the climate that we're in and the things that are going on in our, society right now. And it is causing a lot of mental stress for people, and it's causing serious burnout.
Yes.
Now people are believing that they need to double their hustle, so they are not, of course, paying attention to their health. They're not paying attention to themselves because they're trying to meet up demands. I mean, your bills are not smiling.
Yes.
Life is happening. Like I said, life is designed to throw you
Life
lemons.
is lifing.
Life is lifing. So in these times, how do you now tell a person to take care of themselves? Because first thing they'll say to you is, I beg, I've not eaten. I have not done this. I have not done that. Why should I be thinking of how to take care of myself? I need you to help me break this down so that the people that are watching will understand that you cannot pour out from an empty bottle.
Yes.
In these times, how can a person really take care of themselves? Why is self-care so important in these times that we're in? Please.
So one of the things we forget is that how we drive this thing,
Body.
yes, how we drive it determines how it works for us. And many times we also forget that life is meant to be lived from inside out,
Wow.
not outside in. The pressures are outside. Fuel price, food prices, everything is around you. If you can control from inside, every other thing on the outside would begin to fall in place.
As within, so without.
So, and that is why this self-care conversation is important. Self-reflection and mindfulness. before you leave home in the morning, get it together. Because many times, because we are living on autopilot, we just jump out into the world. World is stoning us. We are collecting, we are dodging. The one we can dodge, we dodge. The one we can collect, we collect. The one we come back beaten and battered, we sleep. We wake up the next morning, back. But if we have that moment when we can separate ourselves into some level of self-reflection, thinking, meditating, it helps us to put life in perspective, then helps us to make better decisions. And if we can put life into perspective and we can make better decisions, then we can do better.
True.
And then life can look easier. But because we believe, everything is being thrown at us, let's just face it, without taking care of our core.
Yes.
That's why we're struggling more than we should. And the life seems to have been designed in a way where we just jump into everything without taking care of our core. So it's very important that this conversation of mindfulness, self-care is a lot more important in these present times, because the stress, if you go out on the road now, everybody's irritable.
Everybody's angry. I was picking my son up from school one day, and then I saw there's some people that hawk on the roadside. I don't even know what happened. I think one of them was trying to get off the road and then fell on the car of one of the guys that was one of the motorists. And before I knew it
was out.
I just saw blows.
Slapping somebody.
I just saw blows. And before you knew it, one person was on the ground and like 3 of them were on him. I was screaming, he's going to die, he's going to die. But I'm a woman amongst men throwing
punches.
As in, what was I going to be able to do? The person that was driving told me, Madam, let's leave here because this thing can escalate very quickly. But by the time, of course I didn't move, but by the time this thing was explained, it was something that was so
simple. So everybody is irritable. Why? We are not pausing to check with ourselves. In one of my series, I do these short videos every day.
Yeah.
And I realized that I've been needing to say it a lot, that it's important to show kindness. It looks like it's a time where kindness, being kind to others, is very difficult. But there is no better time to be kind to people
than now.
But it actually has to start with yourself. Can you be kind to yourself?
Wow, I love this conversation. So I'm going to ask how self-care contributes to resilience. How does self-care contribute to resilience?
So self-care also helps you with self-regulation.
Yes.
And self-regulation help you with grit.
Yeah.
And resilience. So if you can know yourself, know your boundaries, you know how far you can go.
How far you can stretch.
You know when you have come to an overwhelm and you need to re-strategize. Because sometimes what you just need to do is re-look at that situation. Sometimes we keep dragging. We don't know that at this point, let's pause and look at the situation again. What do I need to do? Should I really continue? Should I put a pause to
Are we
it?
pivoting?
Is there something else I can do? Is there a better way I can handle it?
Self-reflection.
So we need to be able to do that. Know yourself. Understand your boundaries. Know your coping strategies.
Absolutely. Healthy coping strategies.
Yeah, healthy, yes.
Because this is something
I did that in one of my videos
use.
recently. Yes, I did that in one of my videos recently. Know your coping strategies. Then make sure that your coping strategies are healthy coping strategies. Because if you have coping strategies that are not healthy, they come back to harm you even more.
Absolutely.
More.
Yes. That's why there's this definition that people use drugs despite the negative consequences.
Yes.
But however, the substances are actually helping them cope with something.
Cope with something in the meantime.
Yes. But the bottom line is coping
It's
helping
a
you
coping.
cope.
Yes, it's a coping mechanism.
Like what you said, it will come back to haunt you.
It will come back to hurt
Absolutely.
you, hurt your pocket, hurt your health.
I love it.
And hurt your family members. But in that immediate, you just want to get respite. And that's why a lot of people do that. So ensure that your coping strategies are healthy coping strategies that helps you to actually be better and not worse. Coping strategies that are helping you, not harming you.
Absolutely. I love it. So do you have any personal self-care practices that have made an impact on your own life?
Self-reflection.
Self-reflection. I love it.
So in the mornings, lucky for me, I'm an early riser. So I wake up earlier before anybody in the house.
Nice.
So I do my prayers.
Nice.
I do my journaling.
I tell people to journal. They don't look at me as if, what is wrong with you?
I
have a notebook everywhere.
Excuse me. You have a notebook everywhere. I have 1 million books. And I like, my fetish is fine books and fine pen.
Oh,
so
nice.
I have fine.
I need to come and visit you so I can steal some.
So I have different journals for different things.
Oh, nice.
Depending on what I want to journal about.
Okay.
I have a color journal for it.
Oh, beautiful.
So this one is my emotional one. This one is my gratitude journal.
I love it.
So I do that. Journaling has really helped me through a lot of very difficult times because it's your opportunity to unburden without even feeling
judged
or judged. Yes. So sometimes
safe place.
Yes. So sometimes it's my dear God. I do a lot of writing letters during my journals to God. Sometimes it is me, like Tayo. I write it down with Tayo. Let's have these frank conversations with ourselves. This is what's so.
And it takes honesty.
Yes, journaling has helped me a lot. So I do my journaling regularly. It may not be. Sometimes I may go off for a while. When life slap you again.
You don't remember. Come here.
But journaling really helps me because you unburden without feeling judged, and then it also helps you to process your emotions.
Absolutely, because sometimes the clarity that you need will just be in just putting it down. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody needs to come in and speak to you.
So journaling has really done a lot of good for me. Helps me to process my emotions. I can go back and read. Sometimes when I go back and read some of my old journals, times when I'm literally running crazy, I can sit down now and laugh and then be grateful to God that I passed through this.
A gratitude journal is beautiful.
Gratitude journal is daily. Daily, because gratitude helps you to find perspective. Because the truth is that everything cannot be going wrong at the same time.
So true.
So it's very important that, and as humans, we are designed to focus on the negative. Which is part of why we are under consistent pressure. But if we can take time to say there's something working and be grateful for what is working,
and you will constantly see
hope for what is not working.
I love it. You can find hope for what is not working. And then there's something profound about this gratitude that you said. We're wired to see what is not working. Meanwhile, there's something working.
Oftentimes, there's a lot working.
And when you see what is working, you see more of what is working. Because that's what you're looking out for.
Energy goes where attention flows.
Oh, so true.
So gratitude is... So my journaling is a personal... Okay, you're asking me about personal practices, right? So my prayers, my journaling, sitting still in meditation, and then reflecting. So sometimes in the evening, I don't do as often as I should, but sometimes in the evening, how did my day go? What did I do right?
What can I improve on? What can I stop?
What can I stop? How was I kind today? I had that in my evening reflections too.
Oh,
because
nice.
It's very important to be deliberate, to be kind.
That's so nice.
How was I kind to myself?
How are you kind to me? How are you kind to me today?
I've made you laugh.
So true. I agree.
So it's very important. Those are practices that have been very helpful for me with my self-care.
I love it.
Then I do my ginger tea in the morning. So I do my ginger, garlic, and lemon. Garlic, lemon, and cloves. I see it as part of my self-care.
No, definitely.
So I do that with dates. I sweeten with dates. I do that almost every morning.
Nice.
Try to get a fruit or fruits, even though I don't like my fruits like
That's
that.
you
So
showing up for yourself,
that's
and
usually
that's
my
self-care.
So I turn it into smoothie.
I love it because there's this exercise that I do on the internet. I mean, I had my baby and the baby fat has refused to shift, but we're still exercising.
Well.
And then every time we're done, there is something she says at the end, well done, you showed up for yourself, today. And I held on to that so much because I'm like, okay, I did show up for
Showing
myself
up for
today.
yourself
And showing up for yourself
is a very
is
important aspect
self-care.
of self-care. Yes.
Beautiful. I love it. So now if I ask you two things you're going to be for our listeners to remember in this conversation that we've had, two things, two self-care routines, two things, or whatever routine or whatever it is you want them to remember, what will those two things be?
One, life is from inside out.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Life is from inside
Life is
out.
from inside
Pay attention to what is going on here.
Inside.
If you can regulate this will self-regulate.
I love it.
That's one. Two, remember that what you don't have, you cannot give.
Absolutely.
So please, do take care of yourself, because the better version of yourself you produce, the better you can serve your world.
Oh, I love it. The better version of yourself that you can produce, the better you can serve your world. I love it. So please tell us about everything that you have planned for 2025 this year. What is the Talk with Tammy series? What you have, so that people can follow you on your Instagram handle and they can get involved in programs that you have done. Anything, just let us know.
Okay, so 2024, I started the Talk to Tammy series. It's a series I hold fortnightly on Instagram Live, but now I'll be hosting it on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Lovely.
Yes,
I love
and
it.
Very important conversations on emotional regulation, emotional intelligence, self-regulation, mental health, coping with stress, topics around such and self-development.
Oh, awesome.
Those topics that helps us to function well
optimally
and do better. Because truly, one of my favorite quotes from John Maxwell says, "Why do you need it tomorrow if you don't plan to be better in it?"
Wow, I love
it.
it.
Truly, the aspiration should be every day we are getting better. So conversations that can help you get better. We hold this every fortnight, Sundays by 8 p.m. So follow Temitayo Ibikunle on Facebook, because it's me.
Yes.
Talk to me. On Instagram, on Facebook, but on YouTube is Talk to Tammy.
Oh, fantastic!
Actually, did they Talk to Tammy for YouTube? So on YouTube is Talk to Tammy. So 2025, we hope to keep getting better.
I love
that's
it.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Keep getting better and serving our world. You can slide into my DM. I do emotional intelligence, anger management, mental health, stress management, and stuff like that. We do trainings, and then whatever ways you think that we can support you.
Please, by all means. Thank you so very much. The reason why I love this conversation particularly is because we don't have enough conversations about these things.
Yes,
and because many of us have been told that self-care is selfish, and everybody's thinking, no, I need to give. But when you give and there is nothing left
for you, then you end up with bitterness.
And then guess what? Everybody's going to be all right. That's the most important thing.
Last.
Everybody's going to be all right.
I read a post about a woman that, she was there and she was not taking care of mother-in-law when mother-in-law was ill. She was taking care of husband. She was taking care of... She was ill. She did not pay attention to herself. She died.
Wow.
And then the person that wrote the post was like, few months later, she was trying to call the husband up to check up. He was expecting to hear one devastated man saying, "My life, I'm critical."
That's a whole new conversation. I don't even want to get into it because
Chairman was on a tennis court playing tennis,
taking care of himself.
The mother that has been ill, that this woman spent all her, she got a nurse for the mother. The children had help, had this, had that. Everybody.
And she was doing nurse
She was nurse, she was wife,
help.
she was everything.
Fantastic. I love it. And now she's where? That's the one
And
they
everybody's
say.
fine.
That's the one they will say, if you think you're El Shaddai,
You
shall
shall
die.
die.
Thank you so very much for having us today. And this particular episode was sponsored by Imose Pillows, Jewel Publishers, and Otesam Press. And we have a lovely gift for you from our partners, the Imose Pillows. We just want to say thank you for being here today.
Thank you for
And
having
we are so
me.
sure we're going to have you a second time.
Yes.
Come on the show to
will
just share beautiful insights on the work you're doing and on mental health as well. Thank you.
Thank you
have
very
an
much.
amazing rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you,
Tribe
Mr. Pillows.
Conversation, take a talk.
Yes, and thank you, Tega Talks. Thank you, Tribe Conversations, for having me. I absolutely enjoyed myself.
I enjoyed having you too. Thank you. And it's been an amazing afternoon. We just want to say thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in our very next episode. Thank you very much and see you next time.